Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today's video is a continuation of our TI-10 meta series, where we're on the 4th video now, so this is the position 4 support, the soft support tier list. And so we're just going to jump right into it. This position is one of the positions where it has a clear-cut winner, and like I usually say, this is all about the statistics, weighting things a little bit more heavily into the later portions of TI, main stage, grand finals, all of that kind of stuff. Just looking at pick, ban, win rate, all of that kind of stuff. But it is pretty obvious, pretty clear, if you watch TI-10, the number one S tier 4 position hero is Elder Titan. This hero is absolutely insane. It does so much damage early on with the spirit, and it can just trade with almost anyone in the game, and then you scale later on with this Ags that gives you BKB, it gives you extra damage, and then you can never count out natural order. And so because of that, this hero can do so much damage. It becomes another core. I think we saw games where this hero basically solo carried the game with a combination of a stomp setup with an Earth Splitter, the natural order aura, and then this Ags in combination would just delete heroes. It would delete people from the game, and from the 4 position, that is just crazy. That's insane. Carries and mids, maybe off lanes occasionally, they're the ones that are supposed to be doing damage and, controlling the fights and those kinds of things. The supports are supposed to offer a few stuns, a few setups, a few saves, what have you, but this hero is straight up a carry from the 4 position, and so that's why I think it was just so hotly contested, because it kind of does everything. It gives, there's a stun, it gives vision, it gives, crazy damage. It just like buffs up the your heroes and your heroes damage because of this armor reduction and magic resistance reduction. It's just insane what this hero does. It brings everything to the table, and it's one of those heroes that I think it just can never be counted out. Like once you get to TI, with just the way team fighting works and all that kind of stuff, I just think the nature of the hero, the base ability of the hero is just so good. It's similar to Tide in that way, where it's almost always going to be good in these big tournaments like TI. So that's Elder Titan, just far and away the best hero in the 4 position. Then next we have the A tier heroes. And these heroes are a little bit different, a little bit mixed and matched here. We first have Snapfire. This hero was a support hero that can kind of be played 5 or 4. So that's why it's here. It's because it has been played in 4, but it has been played in 5. It just can mix and match. It just depends what the lineup looks like, where you want it to go. So it's not a dedicated 4 position, but it is, one of the most hotly contested, hotly picked heroes in the TI-10 meta. It was actually the 4th most picked hero, where actually Elder Titan was the most picked hero in the meta. So because of that, I'm including it here as a support that was flexed to either one. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Snapfire is just Snapfire. Has the cookie, has the long range nukes, has, the minus armor with the ability that it has, and all of these kinds of things. It just is a very, very good support overall, and has been for a while now. Honestly, it got nerfed a bunch, and it just keeps getting, people keep thinking, it's nerfed, it's not good anymore, but it just keeps rising back up into the meta, because what it offers is just you can never count it out. And then next we have Earthshaker. Earthshaker, the 3rd most picked hero, actually tied with Snapfire, but I think is a little bit ahead of Snapfire because a little bit better win rate, banned a little bit more as well. And Earthshaker also was flexed into the off-lane position sometimes as well. Not really played 5, mostly 4, but this hero just offers so much. I think it was buffed with some of its animations and things like that. It just offers so many stuns. You can never count out the amount of stuns this hero has. And from the 4 position, it can honestly carry games sometimes. If you get a good echo, good initiation, all that kind of stuff, this hero can be crazy good. And I think that was just super value in this meta. And Earthshaker also was paired with Morphling, and that strat has not gone away. It's been nerfed sometimes. It's not as good as it was maybe a year or so ago, but it's still relevant. It's still very good, and we saw it getting picked and win some games in TI-10 this year. So that's Earthshaker. Lion, another one that's it kind of gets nerfed. It has bad win rates in pubs, but I think this hero you can't count it out as being a good 4 position hero, because if you get Blink on this hero, you kind of have no fear. You blink in, you're a great initiation tool. You blink in, you hex, you stun, you have your damage. It's just this hero guarantees a pick off once you have blink, and that's from a core or a 4 position hero that just is a really, really good initiation tool. Stuns you can never count out stuns, you can never count out hexes. It has good burst damage, and then especially with the shard, I think that shard really gives this hero that extra kind of oomph that it needed to sustain or be good in the pro scene, where it's very hard to go on this hero hero sometimes when it has the shard and it's just draining your mana. It also, because it's good, it kind of makes illusion heroes worse overall whenever you can pick Lion. So that's Lion. Weaver, very highly contested hero, 7th most picked, very, popular in the meta right now. It was a very good carry, kind of is still a good carry, but it can be flexed and has been flexed to the 4 position a lot because of that, ags that you can have to save people with the ult and all those kinds of things. I just think this hero, it just was pretty good. I don't think it was as popular later on into TI, both from carry and support, but because of the ability to flex this hero to different positions, it just still was really popular. Being the 7th most picked, you can't count it out. So that's why I put it in A tier, because it did get played as support a lot and was pretty good. Next, I'm actually going to put Phoenix, and I'm putting Phoenix here because Phoenix was a little bit lower down on the list. It wasn't banned a ton. It wasn't picked a ton. But if you look at if you just go to look at the statistics, there's a huge gap between all of these, like the S and the A tier heroes, and then a huge gap down to these B tier heroes. And the problem is that there's not really any other heroes in between, these guys and Phoenix. And so I put Phoenix up in the A tier because I think it just had some games later on into the main stage where it just did really well, and you can't really count out Phoenix, and it just offers so much team fight. Now, its win rate, it went 11-14. That's not that great. It didn't get banned a ton. So you could maybe argue that I should put Invoker up here, because Invoker was picked a little bit more, was banned a ton, but Invoker's win rate was 38%. So that's why I didn't put Invoker up here. I just decided to put Phoenix up here because I think Phoenix was relevant. I think it was a little bit more relevant later on in TI, so that's why I decided to put it A tier, but you could argue to put it a little bit lower. Hey guys, Future Dockwell here. I just wanted to add that I forgot Monkey King for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably not usually a support or hasn't been a 4-position support in the near past, so it just wasn't on the list. I completely forgot when making it, but I'm going to put that at A tier. I think it was a pretty good support, but it wasn't the best. We saw it being flexed a lot. It was a really good hero, highly contested for carry and 4-position. It just didn't perform the best overall at 4-position. I know Crit used it sometimes, and sometimes it looked underwhelming. Sometimes it looked pretty good, but it was just like middle of the road. It almost like acted like a carry from the 4-position. So I did want to include it because it was played in 4 a lot. I think it goes along with the A tier. I don't think it was as good as maybe some other 4 positions in the A tier, but since it was so highly contested, so highly picked and banned, I'm going to put it there at the A tier right along with all those other heroes there. So that's where Monkey King goes. Sorry for not including it in the rest of the video, but now we can jump back to the rest of the list. But I think after this S and A tier, there's just a huge drop-off. I put Wind Ranger here because Wind Ranger was not picked very much at all, actually. If I look here, let me just get the stats on this one. I think Wind Ranger was only picked like 10 times or something like that. It really wasn't picked all that much. But the problem is that the reason why I put it up here and I didn't put it a little bit lower is because even though it wasn't hotly contested, it did have a good win rate, and the Gale Force, this shard, I think was a little bit underestimated, and people didn't really realize how good it was until a little bit later on in TI, so that's why I didn't have the numbers. It didn't show that it was OP, but it really was very, very good. Like that shard, you just cannot underestimate how good that shard can be in team fights and things like that. So that's why I put it up here, and that's why I put Invoker alongside, like I talked about before. I put Invoker in B because even though Invoker was super hotly contested, banned 111 times, I think that was mostly for mid, and I just don't think the 4-position version was that good. The win rate wasn't the best on it. I just don't think it's very good, but I put it up here because it was something that was hotly contested in a way, and I just think because of the ability to flex it at 2 different positions these days, I'm going to put it in B. But as you see, none of these heroes really were all that popular. Lena I'm putting in here for the same reason. It was mid a lot, but because it could be flexed into 4, it was popular, so I'm putting it there. Rubik, we saw have some key games later in the meta, but it wasn't all that popular. There was, like I said, huge drop off from these guys down to here. Clockwork occasionally picked, not the best. Same thing with Miranda. Silencer, more of a 5-position, fell off compared to what it was before in these patches because it did get nerfed, but it still was picked sometimes, just more of a 5-position, so I put it here. But the reason why I put all of these here is either because, like Wind Ranger, there's something very good about the hero. These heroes hotly contested, but mainly for other roles, or they were picked a decent amount, but just didn't have a great showing. And I separate these from the C tier mainly because all of these heroes, they were picked occasionally, but just really were underwhelming. Had very bad win rates overall, usually in the 30 or 40%. Only picked like 10 or so games. Just not great showings from any of these heroes right here. Or something like Tree, maybe sometimes, or Shadow Demon, sometimes picked as a 5 even. Just all of these heroes, we thought Venge was going to be good in the off lane, and we thought she was going to be like very relevant, but just, people tried to pick Venge early on in the group stage. I just think because of the nerfs and because of the way this hero is, it's just not as good, and people stopped picking it as much. They tried to pick at 5 or 4 position. It just wasn't as good, so that's why I'm putting it in C. And then lastly, we have D here, where these heroes were picked like a few times in their position, and were just bad, atrocious, awful, just bad win rates, either no wins at all or just very bad, very low pick rate, not banned at all, and just kind of atrocious. I could even maybe put C and D together there a little bit because it's very, it's not that much of a difference. And then obviously we have F. These heroes were either not picked at all or just not picked in the position or just like didn't even get a win at all. So that's why I put all of these heroes here. Not a good 4 position. Barely ever picked, if at all, and didn't even get a single win in a lot of cases. So that's why they're F tier. Just completely terrible in TI10. But yeah, that's pretty much 4 position. I think there's just a huge drop off. It was kind of like mid. I think mid and 4 position, for whatever reason, are very similar in this way. There was like a very big drop off from the most popular mid heroes to like the lesser ones, and it was hard to really differentiate between the D, C, even B tier and mid. And the same thing I think is true here, where you have S tier, Elder Titan just picked every game. These heroes picked a lot in almost every game. And then you have these heroes which were picked occasionally, were okay for different reasons, maybe because they were flexed or whatever. And then you had these heroes that just either were not good at all or they were picked sometimes as experiments and just didn't end up working out. And that's pretty much the story of TI from the 4 position. Obviously a clear winner, and then a lot of good, games from these heroes as well, and then some from these. So that's the 4 position. Let me know, as always, if you guys agree, if you think something should change about the list. I always listen to feedback. As always, like, comment, subscribe, those kinds of things if you like the video. I appreciate those things as always. And I have all of the links, as always, in the description for my Twitch when I do replays on Fridays usually. You can always ask for a replay review in the comments or on Discord, and I have the Discord link below. I have my Patreon link below for if you want coaching or you just want to support me to grow the channel. Let me keep doing this because I want to keep doing this into the future and keep growing. And then as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.